How are you?
I'm doing great. How's everything going with you?
Everything is really good. You know, you put up that beautiful banner, but we can't see it.
You can't see
Why
it.
don't you lean to the side? Lean to the side so we can see it for a little bit. All right, the Workshop Independent School. We welcome you to lunch with Gina today.
I'm excited to eat with you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, our little virtual lunch here. So Andrew Ravin is the founder of the Workshop Independent School in Brooklyn, and the Workshop Independent is one of our newest member schools, and we're really, yeah, thank you so much. We're really thrilled to work with schools who value and believe in what we do, which is building bridges between families of color and independent school culture.
Well, sorry, just real quickly, Gina. We believe that everyone benefits when everyone's together. That's one of our big ideas, right? That every child and every family and every community is better when we have access and opportunity to each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. So with that, why don't you explain to our audience who and what the independent school is and who you're looking to attract and when that's all popping off. So I know there's a series of questions, but it's a lot of great things to share. Very excited about that. So talk to me about it.
First thing to understand is we're focused on middle school. So we're really interested in the time of life that so many adults are scared of, right? And we like to say that adolescence is amazing, right? And your children are interesting and unique. And we feel like that middle school should be exactly as daring and different as we want our children to be. Kind of the tagline is the Workshop Independent is a middle micro maker school for diverse students and families. So what does that mean? It means we focus on these middle grades. It means that we emphasize hands-on learning, which we think is uniquely connected to this kind of developmental process for our young people. And that it's a small community-based school that we know students and families in the ways that traditional schools, simply can't because they're so large, right? I was just talking with someone recently. I was saying, if you think about almost what a barbershop or a beauty salon is, where you have these real conversations and come to really understand people in different ways, we want to shine light where too often there's darkness, right? Too many people hide middle school away, or adolescents will hide secrets away. And what we want to do is open that process up to help students and families really navigate what we feel like can be the beginning of an amazing future.
So we've had the opportunity to work with you already in one of your spacers, in your maker space in Brooklyn. We had a STEM day, a STEAM day with STEM City kids and Yvonne, and it was an awesome day. I mean, the kids that attended with their parents, one of the first questions I asked them was, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they all said scientists. Like it was clear, and I was so happy that through the Workshop Independent and STEM Kids NYC, we were able to foster that and to inspire that, to say, yes, you are in fact a scientist, or you are an engineer, and it was a really great day. We had a great time.
It was amazing. And truly every conversation that I've had or been present with you, Gina, has been outstanding, and I mean that. And one of the things that I appreciate so much about our work with you and the work that you do is how straightforward you are, and honest, and real about what the needs are and interests are of families, right? And I think that we really connect with that. And I just want to answer real quickly a question that you had before, which is, so what kinds of kids and families are right fit for us? I think first of all, families will know if their kid isn't fitting perfectly in a traditional school, right? There's something about your child that there's more to, right? And that sitting down at a desk and learning from a textbook and doing, worksheets for homework just isn't challenging. It's not even that it's theoretically wrong or whatever. It's just, it's not pushing your child to the level that they can really get to, right? That they're more creative than that. They're more curious than that. There may be children who spend their extra time like undoing radios, right? Or building spaceships, or right. Ever since you've known them, they've been doing these kind of creative and interesting things that don't fit in, 30 kids or 20 kids in a classroom sitting down and learning how to write a 5-paragraph essay. That doesn't mean our school isn't going to be challenging. One thing that we say is that students are going to learn even more, right? Because this is going to be one of the first times they're in an environment where we can truly personalize our curriculum to who the students really are, right? And make sure they can get even more advanced education, because our kids aren't standardized, right? Standards may be, curriculum may be, but our kids aren't standardized. And we argue that our schools shouldn't be either.
I think you make a compelling case for many students who are currently enrolled in public schools. But
Yes.
I'm, like you said, I'm a straight talker. So
Yes.
how will the workshop independent compare, or maybe that's not the best word, stand up to or compete with the independent schools, those that are our member schools who have been around for over 100 years, right? Their mission and their ability to put kids in really great colleges and or upper schools or middle schools has been, documented. The rigor is there. So how are you going to, attract that family?
I think that is a great question. Let me say, first of all, we have a lot of work to do to be in that league, right? That's absolutely our goal and our mission. And we take this personally, right? This is at the heart of who we are and what we do. We care deeply about this work. I speak and train teachers all the time, and I tell them, this work is real, right? And this work needs to matter to us, because what we're talking about is the very values that we believe in as a society, right, as a country and as a world. And so this is a real thing to us, right? This isn't just playing around, right? I always say, this isn't just some crazy guy with an idea. I might be a crazy guy with an idea, but
you got beard and hat and idea, right? But that that in and of itself is compelling. And I do want you to, two things I want you to do. Tell us a little bit more about your background,
Sure.
Dr. Ravin, as well. Talk a little bit more about what does make the workshop stand out. In addition to the different type of rigor that you'll have, there's a real focus on equity, inclusion, and diversity that schools that have been around for 100 years are really kind of catching up with. And you have the unique opportunity to start out the gate with that, right? And make that very intentional.
I think that's right. I mean, I think, it's funny. There's a lot of schools that are trying to retrofit what are things that have been established, other ideas that have been established for a very long time. For us, what we're saying is we don't see this existing out there, right? And what we're talking about in terms of equity and diversity and integration is, number one, from the very beginning, at the core of our mission and the core of who we are, because we don't believe that it's just about adding a little bit of something to the mix. This is the mix, right? This is the very idea of what, again, our community, our society should look like, right? When we live in New York City, this is part of the core of why we believe in New York City, right? But unfortunately, our schools, and let's be frank, including our traditional independent schools, are still some of the very most segregated schools in the nation, right? And so we're not talking about 10%, right? I'm sorry about that. We're talking about, at the heart of our school, we will have no racial or ethnic majority, right? And that every student and family should feel equally part of the core of our school. So I think that's number one. And I think, number two is we're also not a fad, right? We're rooted in research that we know to be true from over the last 20 to 30 years, that when students, number one, on an individual level, are made to feel comfortable and safe and understood, they also gain a resilience, right? And a persistence that our students need. And so it's really about students learning who they are and getting the tools to feel good about who they are and to be the most of who they are, right? It's not about fitting in or being somebody then they're not. It's about truly exploring who we are as individuals, because then the second step is, when we see others being truly themselves, it helps inspire us and encourage us to be truly ourselves, right? And for us, this isn't, just to be frank for a second, this isn't about allowing certain families in. This is about making sure that our school is a space for everybody right from the very beginning. Right. And I think that is absolutely something that distinguishes us, because we don't have to change bad practices that we've already had. We get to start with what we already know works. We don't have to have the courage to kind of speak face to face with people who may not agree with that. We're already starting from a mission that believes in these things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's refreshing. So before we close, because we keep our lunches brief here, as our families are trying to get this bit of information in during a lunch break, or maybe later on in the evening, because time is finite.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit about why the workshop school, how that developed, where it came from with you, and what's happening right now for 2019-20 school year.
Yep, I think it's a great question. I'll be honest, I don't love to talk about myself a lot, so I might have avoided that question a little bit. But this is where it comes from. If you've seen the movie Serpico before, I've often thought of myself a little bit like Serpico, right? I've been in public schools for a while, and have been trying to change and to innovate within this system, right? And sometimes I felt like I'm not sure this is a great police station, if that makes sense, right? And so part of this impetus has always been within me about how do we find spaces for every child, right? Instead of just using that language, how do we actually make this happen, right? At every step of the way. But I have my own children and I have my own family, right? And so when our oldest kind of went through this middle school process, it became a lot more personal to me, right? About how do we actually build a school that does the things that a lot of schools give lip service to, right? I try to say to parents, we're the real deal, right? There's a lot of things people could say about me, but one thing they would all agree on is that I'm honest, right? And so when we say we're going to do something, like I said before, this is personal to us. We're about this. And I guess, just one other quick story that I would say about why it matters is we're in a mixed family, and my middle daughter, quite frankly, experienced some racism at her last school. And when we brought this up to the teachers didn't really understand what that meant in a way that we felt was important. Right? It wasn't it was like I'm sorry kind of situation, but at a root level, the real issue, the real problem wasn't addressed. And so one of the things that we like to say is that academic achievement is the result of more than academic instruction. That until our children are seen as real people and as whole people and everything that they are, whether that's our race, our religion, our background, whatever that is, our young adults can't really grow into full adults, right? And so, this is about also the experiences I've had as an individual, as an educator, as a social worker, as a parent, right? And speaking with other parents and other families about how do we build that school that we really always dreamed could be, right? And our goal is to be that kind of unicorn for families that, when they say, well, I'd love that brownstone with the backyard and the stoop and the great block. And, that's who we want to be, right? We want to be someone that when you talk about the school, other parents are like, I can't even believe that could happen. We're making it happen. That's our goal.
And you're making it happen with 2019-2020 school year. So what do families have to do now to learn more about the Workshop Independent? We're going to continue to promote not only the school, but the work that we're doing with the school as we do with our other member schools. But what do they need to do to learn more about it and to apply?
I think that's great. You can visit, first things first, you can visit our website, theworkshop.nyc. And you can learn more about us, and our applications are open. And there is probably nobody in the world, Gina, who believes in this idea more than I do, but I've been surprised by the amount of interest and already applications that we've gotten from families. And so we have 3 steps in the process. That first step is an early admission process where we make an early commitment to families who make an early commitment to us. And we know our first families are so important. And so there's 2 things that those parents should know. Number one, those first families that make a commitment to us, no matter where they fit into on our sliding scale tuition, they'll receive a discount because we know the commitment that they're going to make, and we're going to ask them to commit to us. But the second thing is, if they're not ready to make that commitment, they can also apply through a traditional process. Now, here's the thing. We're a pretty small school, Gina, right? We're going to accept 25 students for our 6th grade year. That's what allows us to do the work that we're going to do. But it also means that spaces are going to fill up fast. And I am honestly saying this not as a salesperson. I'm just saying this to be frank, right? If you believe that this message resonates with you, for rising 6th graders, children who are in 5th grade now, I really do strongly encourage you to apply early on. Yes, we benefit from it, but you'll benefit from it too in a couple different ways. And so, I hope that that comes off as just trying to be honest and not as a pitch, because it is true. But we really look forward to hearing from your families and your kids.
Well, thank you very much. At the bottom of this Lunch with Gina post, we will have the link to the website. We'll have
Awesome.
links to your social media spots, locations as well, because you do some really great social media, and a lot of the imagery that you share is, like you said, it's everything put together: the stoop, the backyard, the fireplace, all of that put together. So we're really excited about what's going on, and it is our goal to share as many educational possibilities for our families, and the workshop Independent is one of them. So Andrew, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for all the work that you do with us and with other schools. It's important, and we believe in it, and we're here for all of you families and all of your families and all of our communities, whether you decide to come to the workshop or not. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Okay, have a great day.
You too, take care.
Talk to you soon. Bye.